G'day golfers. Ever found yourself redirecting blame and making excuses after having an absolute shocker on a golf course? I know that I have. Range was closed, I was a little cold, didn't warm up, I hit it in those 3 old divots. Then we have the podcast for you. We focus on how to fundamentally own your swing. Strike it pure and consistently shoot in the 70s. Be it if you're a weekend hack, retired and playing daily, a school phenom or a tour professional. We present and discuss facts and physics pertaining to golf, trying to keep our ego and opinion at bay. We dispel myths such as keep your head down, bend your knees, or my all-time favourite, game improvement irons. So stop drinking that mythical Kool-Aid and have a sip of ours. I think you'll find it both inspiring and refreshing. I'm Scott Young, founder of Swing, PGA professional and ex-tour player. Welcome to Pivot the Path. G'day golfers and welcome to Pivot the Polar Vortex Path. Holy moly, 1 degree Fs, that's minus 17, 18 degrees Celsius. Net, it is freezing. But I am wearing a hoodie because it is so cold in here. It's 6 a.m, early New York City. We hope this comes to you well. Still thoughts to the LA community. We hope you guys are safe and sound, and we believe the fires have died down, even though the media kind of stopped focusing on that right now. Thoughts out to you because it's still brutal, and there's thousands of people without homes, and again, the small businesses who are going to really struggle. So we're thinking of you. There's a ton going on in the world. Obviously, the presidential inauguration was on, which was always a spectacle, and as my first US citizen presidential handover, that was always a bit of a buzz and dance and pony show. No one does it like the US. So hopefully there's all safe transitions and whatnot. There appears to be a bit of a love fest down there in DC. That must be damn cold. And we had the college football grand final, as we call it, but the main show, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I was a huge Notre Dame fan coming into this. We used to practice a little bit there at the gym, and they're just obviously a great Cinderella story, but unfortunately Ohio State was just too big, too fast, 34-23. I saw the second half, but had to hit the hay before the game finished, but I think they were just a bit big. So congratulations, Ohio, Notre Dame. You live to fight another day. No Rudy story there, which is a bit of a shame. And everything's just back to buzzing along. It's really cold here. I don't think I've ever had too many 1 degree Fs. So that's kind of turning it up a little bit, but it's a little chilly. So we've got all heaters gangbusting here. And we were skiing in our backyard last night. So we were going to go skiing. We're not a big skiing family, but we were going to go skiing. So we're getting into it, living in the Northeast here. And we've got a pretty steep hill. So our 2 little ones were skiing, and Valentina's actually skiing really well. So shout out to all those skiing. Make sure to wear a helmet. Biggest injury in skiing, I believe, that causes, long-term issues, brain trauma. So hey, let's transition here, or pivot the path. News from the fairways. We had the DP Tour in Dubai, the Dubai Classic, and it's always a beautiful, picturesque fairways, practice fairway hitting to the skyline there of Dubai, and it's such an amazing event. Sammy Brazil, a dear mate of mine, won that a fair few years ago. He'll get exempt. I hope he played well or is playing well. And we had Tyrrell Hatton, just keeps doing it. 15 under, won by a shot, and just gets it done. Won a couple of events last season and starts the season again. Very interested that Rory's playing already. He's basically had no time off. And so, look, he's so brilliant. And again, physically, in my opinion, probably the best that's ever been physically. But mentally, not quite sure where he's at, certainly for the majors. All I really love watching golf is the lead up to the majors. I'm just a major nut. And so I really hope that his calendar is stepped out efficiently to give him some time off, because it would appear he's had maybe only a week and a half off, and I think he probably needed about a month after the US Open, which he hasn't had. So hopefully his team have organised him around the majors, although, as the man in golf right now, he's certainly got sponsor relationships being part of a tour, both European Tour and PGA Tour. I just feel as though the PGA Tour and European Tour use him as a pawn, and they really don't care about Rory's longevity. And as I said last year, and I stand by it, I would clean house in the Rory house and really start to look after Rory, because he hasn't had any time off, and I fear that he's not going to do well this year in the majors simply because he's going to be fatigued. He's got the TGL, which was on last week, and he's part of that. So he's basically had no time off, poor bugger. I hope he's doing well. We also had Mingwoo Lee play in the DP Tour, who came tied 17th. Great job, Mingwoo. US Tour, we had the American Express won by Sepp Straka, who I don't know a lot about. Sepp had a couple of wins. He hasn't won for about 3 years, shot 25 under, and just clean housed away from Jason Day. Great to see Jason back playing well. The cut was 9 under, so it was a pretty easy golf course. I had mates of mine playing, and they had like 2, 3, 4 under and didn't even make the cut. So got to start to see a little tougher golf courses. I'm not a massive fan of having just a 25, 30 under win golf events, but Sepp seems like a good dude, pretty level key, big boy, little level keeled type of chap. So always good to see just good, solid level people winning. And then we've got the Australian Open tennis on at the moment. We're into the quarters. For those of you who don't love your golf, just jump on the Aussie Open, jump on the Grand Slams. They're such an amazing event. They run for about 3 to 4 weeks. So you've got a month of mental preparation, pre-shot routines, pre-serve routines, and also the physical component in Melbourne during our summers. You know, it's 40, 42 degrees on court, which is a little different to minus 18 at swing right now. So Alcaraz, Djokovic, got lots of Americans playing. We've got Goff and we've got Madison Keys. So we've got a ton of Sabalenka. So we've got a ton of top seeded US players playing, which is fantastic. So get on to the Aussie Open to see if Djokovic can take that out. I think he's going to struggle against Mr. Sinner, who is just a very even-keeled individual as well. What are you noticing about sport? All these even-keeled individuals keep coming back to the table. So, you know, pre-shot routine, mental approach is just how to get it done. And what we continually say here at Swing to all our community is just consistency. I mean, it is damn cold. I'm going to get my kid off here in a little bit and get back to working out. I work out every day here at Swing, and it's going to be cold, but it's just about being consistent. Golf performance is about doing the little things often. Consistency. Don't need to practice 5 hours a week to get off scratch. You just need to practice 1 or 2 hours every couple of weeks, but make sure your practice is consistent. And that's what we wanted to do with a little bit of live action. Seymour guys sent me a putter, which is very good of them. I've been working on it the last 2 or 3 days, and I wanted to show you how I transitioned from controlling my stroke to then how do we actually implement that on a golf course. And you can absolutely own your swing with work you put into your game on a putting green indoors, because indoor putting is not about holing putt. It's about pre-shot routine and actually putting your putting stroke under pressure to actually perfect those routines. So let's get into it. So you can do this in your office, you can do this in your study, you can do this in your living room. It's all about consistency of work. Let's get into it. I've got my new putter. I cut it up and put the grip on and the length I like, and I bent it to 79.5 degrees vertical lie angle. Remember, it's all physics and math, this game. The more vertical the shaft, the less the face changes orientation. The flatter the shaft, the more the face changes orientation with a general stroke around a pivot point, me being the pivot point, or you've got to work harder with your hands to keep it square. So my opinion, get it vertical and let the old physics take its course. One thing, just backpedaling a little bit, one thing I love about what we're trying to do with this podcast is very real and honest. We're very different here in that everything is absolutely bang on recorded as we do it. So I'm on blast every day for about 5 to 10 minutes to check my numbers. I know that my backstroke on a 12, 13 foot putt is going to be 1.5 degrees, and I usually spin my torso just as my habit. So that's the first thing I'm going to take care of. And what I find a lot of these golf companies don't do with all these fancy putters is that they don't talk pre-shot routine, eye dominance. And so what we do better than most here at Swing, vertically integrate, where we're obviously building clubs. We've got our systems on how to actually take theory to golf course. So theory is what I class numbers. So get your stroke right, theoretically putt well under a very controlled environment. And then part two of this, and really importantly, is how do we take this to the golf course? So part one, go through your numbers. I'm going to always set up my club face parallel to where I'm trying to hit the golf ball. Putter face first, feet second. I've got blast on. I have a kind of an abbreviated pre-shot routine. Have a look at my stroke. Okay, 2.3, 2.30. I mean, that is absolutely perfect first putt of the day. So I've got my little cues. I'd probably work on a 13-foot putt. I'd probably work 2.3 down to about 1.5 degrees. But at the end of the day, if I'm opening the putter face 2.3 degrees, I'm closing the putter face 2.3 with a net of 0. 0 is perfect. I'm going to hold a lot of putts. So then we take a step back and say, okay, it's great to be able to putt in a controlled environment. Let's take all this away. But how do we take the theory numbers, 2.3, 2.30, and get you to play scratch golf? Really simple, pre-shot routine, post-shot routine. So I'll show you how to do it. Really simple stuff. Okay, so part two. Once you've been practicing your theory, get your numbers and stroke right, then you've got to take all the help, the alignment rods, the T-squares out of play. So why I love and am so proud of Swing, there's a ton that's gone into this. Every putter here, mainly Seymours, couple of labs, but all the Seymours are center shafted. I believe a center shafted vertical lie angle putter is the easiest way to get the job done because mostly our eyes have a lot of eye dominance. I was alternate into the Aussie Open one day, years back, 20 years back, and Bruce was a plumber from Sydney. And I'm so proud of Swing because there's been a ton of stories, anecdotes, experience, cleaning clubs when I was 15 that's gone into every nut and bolt of Swing. Bruce was a plumber from Sydney who'd never played golf before, and I witnessed him with Allenby and Appleby on the putting green, and this guy was holding like 40-foot putts, and he was betting these guys for cash. This is called a pendulum putter. If you guys remember, Peter Lonard played a lot with Pete, and this is basically a zero lofted. It's extremely heavy. It's like a block of metal here, and his whole idea was the same in that the pendulum, if we just create a pendulum, the face doesn't manipulate too much. I keep it on the floor because it's the heaviest putter I've ever seen. Pete Lonard had it in a broomstick. Point being, center shafted, no kinks in the shaft. And so I want all our golfers to understand the history of how golf and putters all came about. Digress a little bit. That's just a little bit of anecdotal news. So I've got my new putter. Now, I've cheated a little bit here because I've given all our community a line for alignment. I've already got a pre-made dot where they can align to. I believe that every single putter should point to a spot. So a little bit of my theory. I believe every putt's straight. And I believe if you can have a pre-shot routine based on about a foot, picking a dot, and then just let feel of distance be your main thought as you pull the trigger. The whole idea is that if I can line up to a foot in front of me, and I line up, in this case, the white dot, I've got a center putt, a center putt, a center putt, right edge and outside right edge, just how I made this putting green. I laid all this myself. And I wanted to create an environment where we could give our community a little bit of a helping hand, where they can aim their putter to the white dot and have my alignment straight. And then eventually they take absolutely no dots, no alignment lines, and they go play golf. But again, when you create a habit, create it in a controlled environment, right, where I'm looking at the numbers. I'm still going to have my numbers on just to keep an idea of this. 7-foot putt, 6.5-foot putt, we should be down to about a degree and a bit. And then we take all that away and do pre-shot routine. So every time you're playing now it's full pre-shot routine. So for me, I wipe the blade clean, left hand on left quadricep, putter face first, I close my left shoulder, I can't align with both eyes open because of my eye dominance. So I actually, for the last 26 years, I closed my left eye. So I close my left eye to align. Left foot in, right foot in. Left arm, left elbow in. Right arm, right elbow in. I actually trace the putt and I imagine the ball going over my spot into the middle of the hole. And then I believe as I trace the ball back, when my eyes get back to the ball, I pull the trigger. So once I've been practicing, I've got my theory here where I'm taking all the help away, the alignment rod to T-square, the mouse hole. And what I'm going to try and do now is then put that in and I'm going to start my pre-shot routine to affect really good change. I'm going to keep an eye on my numbers, 1.8s and 1s and so forth. Then we're going to get through to this. So, full pre-shot routine. Okay, never look up on a 6-foot putt. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so we go to the next one. Again, full pre-shot routine. And when it's pre-shot routine time, no talking. It's 12 or 13 seconds. Full routine. Head doesn't see. So I've gone 1 degree back, excellent. 2 degrees forward, so I still spun a little bit. 1 degree open on the way back, and then I closed at 2 degrees. So what I'm looking at is I'm keeping an eye on my numbers, but this is more about pre-shot routine, and I'm going to do 5 putts. If you're that golfer who lines the ball up, be very careful. My opinion, that's a waste of time unless you're a tour player. But if you are using the line on the ball, make sure you plumb bulb either that way like Bryson or this way. Make sure you plumb bulb using your putter shaft, the black line on where you want it to start and where it apexes and goes in the hole. In my opinion, way too slow and slows your pre-shot routine around. So I prefer, instead of using the black line, I just line up to a dot. I try and pick a blade of grass or what have you. So remember, keep it simple, practice in a controlled environment, have less control of an environment, and then obviously get out there and play. Remember, pre-shot routine, post-shot routine. My post-shot routine is I'm just going to forget the putt that I just had. Okay, when I'm particularly putting, I'm always trying to feel like I get the putter face moving way right. So if 12 o'clock's the target, I feel like I'm aiming out to 2 o'clock just because I've had a history of rotating now shown by Blast, which was a great illustration here. Even though I hold the putt, I opened at 1 degree and closed at 2 degrees, so I still pulled it a little bit. All right, beauty golfers, look, thanks for listening. And remember, you can absolutely own your swing with the work you put into your game off the golf course. Remember, control the environment, create the habit. Create good habits based on metrics, not feel. Once you've got good metrics, create a feel and a pre-shot routine so you can absolutely own your swing with the work you put into your game off the golf course. And remember, sign up for the newsletter. It comes out every Friday. And it's all based around keeping it high and tight on facts and figures. Have a fantastic week. Cheers.